Buongiorno everyone, welcome to this season's player ratings overall rankings for the entire Newcastle squad, going in the numbers on the back of the shirts. So we'll try and deviate this week away from all the takeover shite by doing some end of season stuff, player ratings, awards, and maybe look towards transfer targets next week. But today is the end of season player ratings, so we'll start off kicking number 1, Martin DÚBRAVKA.
Aye, the club's official player of the season. I did a little bit of research last night. I've seen that overall in the season he made 39 appearances and he was the Premier League's top saver with 140 Premier League saves and 11 clean sheets. And we know what impact Martin DÚBRAVKA had. Obviously, he was player of the season for the club, and I think without him and SAINT-MAXIMIN particularly, we would have been relegated. No 100%. Doubt, no question about that. Like the saves he made, let's say most in the Premier League, 140. Some of them absolutely vital in games that we did like claw a point, sometimes even 3. Like if you look back at like the Chelsea game at home, Everton away, there's no way we should have gotten points against in them games. But some of the saves DÚBRAVKA made, fucking world class saves. Like I think since he signed like last season and maybe it's like the half season before, he looked a little bit iffy. He was prone to a bit of mistake. Like I remember, like Tottenham away last season at Wembley, made a howler, cost with 3 points there. At Wolves away, like he just wasn't comfortable in his collection, like when crosses were coming in. But this season, he's been perfect. I think the only thing I think he maybe could have done better in was the Villa goal at home where we drew 1-1. That could have maybe cost with 2 points. But throughout the season, he's kept it in games. He's kept it outside the bottom 3. And rightfully so deserved player of the season, maybe with an exception of SAINT-MAXIMIN. So that first one on the board, and that's the first number 10.
10, lovely stuff. 10 out of 10
Absolutely.
for DÚBRAVKA.
Absolutely.
All right. Next.
Number 2 is Kieran Clark.
Kieran Clark, obviously injured and missed a lot of the end of the season, didn't he? Particularly the restart we could have done with him when we had knee-fit centre-backs. We had KRAFTH getting put in there, the talks of Andy Carroll playing there, Kel Watts obviously made his debut at the end. So I think Clark's a much more important player for Newcastle than that's given the credit, to be honest, because he's reliable. He comes in, he chips in with a goal. This season, I can't really think of too much though. He was playing a lot. He scored against, was it Southampton or Palace at home where he dinked one in?
Southampton, I think. Yeah, did he get the first one to get away at West Ham as well?
I did. So Kieran Clark for me, like I say, he's solid at one end, chips in at the other. Dangerous man to have at set pieces. I think what you'd give him most weeks would be a 6 or a 7. So throughout this season, I'll give him a 7. When he played, he made a difference.
The stats I've recorded, he made 17 appearances in all competitions throughout the season, which isn't really a lot, to be fair. Like he has had an injury-hampered season, but he chipped in with 2 goals, and he was the club's. He had the 3rd most clearances in the Premier League out of the whole squad with 79 clearances. Yeah. So for only 17 games, and that's all competitions, I don't actually know how many he made in the Premier League, but in those games, 3rd most clearances in the squad. So like you say, like his impact's felt. Like when he is there, it's just a shame he's had an injury-prone season, but when he has played, he's actually been unreal. I think last season he was possibly one of my least favourite players, but like in them 17 games he's made this season, I think he's made himself a bit of a fan favourite. Like when he got a solid run in the team, and when he did, he was classed. So I credit to Kieran Clark. I think 7's a good rating.
Right.
Number 3, Paul Dummett. I think we can pretty much say the same. He made 17 appearances in all competitions as well. Injury prone to bits. I don't think we've seen him since January. And when he made that end of season injury in January, he was kind of in and out the squad for a month or 2 with injuries. So that was poor. But at the start of the season, I thought he started really, really well, because he's been the kind of player for me that I just haven't really think is good enough. Like I know a lot of fans have been saying like, oh, like we'll love him. He's the starting left back. He's class. Like at left back, he just hasn't done the business for me in the 5 years or whatever he's been in the first team. I don't think he's that good. But with the formation with 5 at the back, Dummett started the season. I think even in pre-season, I think when we were away to Preston, he was playing in the back 5 on the left-hand side of like a centre-back 3. And I think that position, particularly on the left-hand side of at centre-back, I thought he was actually class. Like he made that position his own, and he he was really, really good. As a centre back in a flat back four, maybe he might get exposed a bit. As a left back, he's not good enough. But I thought at the start of the season, he was actually unreal. I was really, really fond of Paul Dummett in that position. But obviously, injuries have hampered his season. So I think if it was a bit more consistent, or maybe, well, in injuries, I don't mean like performance-wise. I think performance-wise, he was class. But if he was more consistent with injuries in the squad, more chipped in with more goals, maybe I probably would have put him at the same level as Kieran Clark. But because he hasn't scored as many goals, or he hasn't got as many stats like the clearances that Kieran Clark has, I'll give Dummett a 6.
Spot on.
Yeah. Number 4 for the first part of the season was Ki Seung-young, but he only made 4 he only made 4 appearances. I don't think we'll do anyone that didn't make at least 5 appearances, so I will skip on Ki Seung-young. And number 5 was last season's Player of the Year, Fabian Schär.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's it. Imagine comparing this year to last year's.
I know.
What happened to Fabian Schär this year? Fell out of favour with Bruce, fell out of favour in that system. Struggled in this system when Brucey adopted 4 at the back, I think, because the 5 at the back, he's got freedom. He's got Lascelles and Fernandez, or Clark, whoever it may be, to mop up defensively. He has the free room where he gets into space, can spray balls across. That's the best Fabian Schär. See him daunting forward, scoring the old screamer. In the back 4, he just looks lost. He just lost. He even got tried in defensive midfield, didn't he, towards the end of the season after restart. And we just thought his twin brother had flew over from Switzerland and Fabian was still injured, because we had no idea what happened to Schär. Shadow of his former self. Let's hope we'll see the Fabian of 2019 next year once the season starts again, because with a top class player in there last year, seat player of the year, and then this year, absolute pony. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he has a good pre-season. But Schär this year for me, 2.
Yeah, 27 appearances, 2 goals. He was the club's leader in the Premier League in interceptions with 47.
Huh?
Yeah, but you're right. Like, shadow of the man. I think maybe he just set a bar. I think last season he was maybe too good. He maybe excelled himself. So he raised the bar too high, and this season he absolutely nowhere near as proper limbo. Disappointing, especially like towards the end, like after a restart, like the 2 games against Man City, he just looked like he didn't give a shit. He was massively disappointing. So, 2 then. That's your rating. I've got Captain Lascelles. 29 appearances, 1 goal. He was the club's 2nd most clearances with 115, and the club's 3rd most aerial battle wins with 74. He, over the last couple of years, like post 2018, he's been very inconsistent. Like the 2018 season, we were all calling for him to go to the World Cup. We thought he was class, one of England's best centre backs, but last season, I thought he was poor. Didn't really have the greatest seasons.
Bad year last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, but this season, like it has been inconsistent in spells, but I think overall, I think he's been good. I think we've been saying, if it wasn't for his leadership skills, he probably wouldn't even be in the team. But I think we've seen time and time again, like this season, particularly with injuries, when he's not there, we actually really do miss him. He is a massively important part of this team for me. I think. Was it about November? It was about December time, wasn't it? He was out over Christmas and New Year for a month. Like I thought we were shit at the back then. We really, really missed him. And towards the end of this season, he had quite a few injuries, and I think without them, there's a massive hole in defence. Maybe it is the leadership skills. Maybe he goes undetected. Maybe he's a little bit underrated as a centre back. I don't know, but when he's not there, we'll miss him. So I think he's being class. I think was it the Watford game when he just came back from injury? I think he missed the one before. I think it was Tottenham or Man City. I think it was Man City. He was out, came back against Watford, and he was an absolute fucking brick shit house. I'd probably give him an 8. I think people might think that's a little bit high, but I think because when he's not there, we'll majorly miss him, and I think that's pinpointed how important he actually is. So I'd give him an 8. Andy Carroll. 21 games, 21 games, no goals. Club's most assists in the Premier League with 4. I know.
The thing is with Andy, it's like I sided at the start because the amount of appearances. I just wish he could stay fit, man. Because we've seen how important he was, what an asset he can be to bring off the bench, not just at one end but the other. I remember some of the home games when he started making these appearances again for the 2, and he was bombing at the back. He was sprinting up the wing. That must be why he gets injured, because he pushes his body beyond what it's capable of now. Because when he's on the pitch, we were saying he looks sharp, he looks fresh. He doesn't look like it doesn't look like the injury-prone Andy Carroll that everyone bangs on about. But then it'll be announced on Monday that he's out for 3 weeks. But he'll clear them at the back. Obviously he assists them going forward, knocks them down. But he's just a bully, and we've seen how dangerous he can be. We've seen how much of a threat he can be. I remember Sheffield United away, how much he dominated everything for then. That was probably one of his best games, back in a black and white shirt. Shame he didn't score against Brighton on the penultimate game of the season after the restart, because I just really want him to get that one goal at least. But he's got a 1-year deal. Looking forward to seeing him next year, as long as he can try and obviously keep fit more. But he's a great squad player to have. He's a great,
definitely
different choice of Arsenal to bring off the bench at least. So for me, Carroll, when he's played, I give him a 7, which is maybe a bit generous, 6 or a 7, but I'll go 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He had the second most aerial battle wins. He's at 21 appearances. Like, when he played, the impact was felt. It's a shame that he could maybe reach over 30. I think if he could hit 30 appearances a season, we'd see a lot more out of him. Maybe he's chip in with a goal or two. As I say, he was the club's most assists, and he barely played. I think most of the appearances were probably off the bench. So if we could see a little bit more of him, a bit more from the start, more fitness, he could be a major asset to this club. Number 8, Jonjo Shelvey. The club's,
nobody.
Ain't nobody. The club's most goals in the Premier League, which is fucking mad. 6 goals in the Premier League, club's top goal scorer. Second most passes, 1,044 passes and 2 assists, 29 appearances. I think we could probably say the same thing about Shelvey as we did with Lascelles. 2018, he had a class year. Since then, being inconsistent. I think he turns up less often. I think we were saying at the start of the season, you only really see one really good game from him every 3-4 months. It's really just not good enough, not consistent enough. I think when he's on his day, he could be one of the best centre mids in the Premier League, but them days come way too few and far between. But I think this season, overall, particularly in like the second half of it, I think he was a lot more consistent. And he scored the most goals, 6 goals. I think for a centre mid, for a bit more of like a central midfield figure, kind of like a quarterback role, I think 6 goals is a pretty good return. So I've been quite happy with Jonjo Shelvey. He's been more consistent than we've seen of him over the last 2 years, so I'd probably give him a 7.
Best season he's had in a Newcastle shirt for me, Jonjo Shelvey, because of consistency.
Yeah.
I think how long we've had him, and he signed his new deal as well. And you normally see players maybe peter away, fall off, chill out a little bit once they've been awarded a new contract. Shelvey just kept on kicking on, and on his day, he's one of the best. But he scored some huge goals this year as well, not just because he's top goal scorer, but you think of the worldie against Man City when he equalised to make it 2-2. I mentioned Carroll, Sheffield United away. Shelvey obviously scored that VAR special, didn't he? One of the highlights of the season. That so great year for Jonjo, I think.
Yeah, definitely. That leaves you with number 9.
Number 9.
Big number 9, Joelinton.
Thanks to that one. I've still got that. I've been alright right there, to be honest. Joelinton, goodness me. When he first came in, the aura around him, the excitement around him, the £40 million price tag, we're all buzzing. And then he didn't look like any worth £4 million compared to 40. The tipping point for me was when we were at Rochdale away. We're seeing the lack of effort, lack of care. The entire stand full of Geordies were hammering him, and rightfully so. But then since then, maybe he's understood it a bit more. Maybe he needed to go through that to get to where he's hopefully going, because he's still far away from where he needs to be. But in terms of after Rochdale, we started to see the work ethic pick up. We started to see the care, the passion, the fight turn up a bit more. 2 goals though is a shambles. 2 goals in a whole Premier League season is a joke. But you got to remember, young lad, younger than us, adapted into a foreign country. His family weren't over here at first. He's got Brucey just obviously. Benitez would be able to do a better job with him. I mean, Benitez, Eddie Howe would be able to do a better job with him. Play him in the right position. That finally started happening way too late. We've seen glimpses. We'll hopefully see a lot more, but he's got to do a lot more. Joey, I don't want to be too harsh on him, so I'll give him a 5.
All right. Well, that gives me a good one then. So Maximin, number 10. 30 appearances, 4 goals in all competitions, 4 assists in the Premier League, which was tied most with Andy Carroll. Talisman, best player, I think, by a mile. I think outfield, especially, like Dúbravka had a wicked season, probably rightly deserved player of the season, but SAINT-MAXIMIN would have been on his toes. What was the stat you said out about being in the either top 4 or bottom 3?
So if SAINT-MAXIMIN played every minute of every game, Newcastle would average about 70 points a season, which would be enough to pretty much get them top 4. And without him, without his impact of assists, dribbles, goals, would be a guaranteed bottom 3. So that shows the difference that SAINT-MAXIMIN makes. And for me, I would have gave him the other season because he's the difference. He's the excitement. Well, probably not, because obviously Dúbravka has saved loads of points, but SAINT-MAXIMIN's always also in loads of points. So let's just pray we keep a hold of him, right? Because he's the best best player in a while, best player in a long while we've seen for the tune.
Yeah, like, it's been such a long time since we've had such a dynamic player like that. Someone who wants to get the ball and run at the attack, run at their defence. Like, we haven't had anyone like that since Ben Arfa. And I think, like, without SAINT-MAXIMIN this season, I'd be fucking bored shitless. Like, it would just be shit, wouldn't it? Like, where's the spark? Who's actually really trying and drilling at people's defences and trying to open up, make things happen? Like, it would just be so dry this season. But obviously, like, his character as well, like, he's a colourful, dancing character. Like, he's always smiling and that. Like, he's met with the fans on social media, and like in the Metro Centre, he's always there wearing his tune top and that. Like, he's a proper fan favourite, and rightly so. Even off the pitch, like, let alone what he does on the pitch. Like, so I'll give him a 10. Obviously, he's just so important to us, and like, I think, like, he's got better as the season went on as well. Like, I know when we signed him, like, fans of the French league said, like, his end product's not the best. Like, he doesn't maybe score enough goals. Maybe his crosses are a little bit wayward. And I think at the start of the season, we've seen that. Like, he tried, but that wasn't really any end product at the start of the season. But as things have come on, I'd say, 4 goals, 4 assists. It's a decent return for his first season, but we need better. We need more consistency. But he's been another one who's struggled a bit with injuries. I think he's been playing too much. I think he's had the weight of the world on his shoulders as the only real threat. He's had to fucking carry this team all season. So I think maybe that's had an effect on his fitness, his injuries and stuff. But if we can look after him a bit better, maybe he's put some better players around him, take the pressure off him a little bit. When real, I think next season he can hit 10 goals, 10 assists if we can play him right and keep him fit. So a massive 10 for him. Matt Ritchie.
Matt Ritchie, one of the best players after the restart, really. You got to think about a couple of goals that he banged in. Again, I mentioned Shelvey signing a new deal. Matt Ritchie signed one alongside him. And he's still kicked on, still gives the effort, but he's still up and down for me, Matt Ritchie. Sometimes he just doesn't look Premier League level. The penalty that he gave away against Watford, man, it just sums up Matt, and then you've got Ritchie at the other end who bangs in a rocket. Matt in defence is rash, jumps in, doesn't know what he's doing. Ritchie at the other end gets on his left foot, smashes it top ins. It's a tale of two names for Matt Ritchie, like two players in one. But I'd say overall across the season, he's been decent enough. But like I say, it's one game is this, one game is that. But Matt Ritchie, I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Dwight Gale, another contender for best player post restart. Before restart, the rest of the season, absolute fucking shambles. Probably give him a 0 because he barely got on the field.
He scored 0 goals in a year. Still after restart.
Like he had a awful start of the season with injuries as well. I don't even know when we first seen him. I don't think that was until about November, December time he got his first game. Then when we were at Burnley away in December, missed an absolute sitter. He missed the massive sitter against Man City in the cup. Like, it's just been a bit too inconsistent, but he finished the season unbelievably. 4 goals, 2 assists in 22 games. I think his performances were picking up towards the end as well. I think after the restart, he was scoring a couple of goals, but his involvement wasn't really there. He was just like a goal poacher, fox in the box. I think the last few games of the season, he was really getting involved, like linking up, like trying to prove a point, like pretty much show, like, I'm here. You don't need to sign anyone else in the summer. I'm here now. I'm fit. I'm scoring goals. I'm confident. And so I started the season 0. will finish the season probably on a 6. I feel like I'd like to give him a bit more, but because he wasn't really there for the majority of the season and he missed a couple of massive sitters, I don't think we could ever forgive him for the Man City miss. Like that, that goal puts us at 1-1, and we were on the rise at that point in the game as well. I think if we score that goal, we keep that momentum, we go on and win that game. And he's missed practically an open goal from 3 yards out. That's unforgivable. We went out with the FA Cup because of that chance for me. So unforgivable. But yeah, second half of since the restart, he's been massive. Key player, 4 goals, 2 assists. Nah, I think 6 is fair.
All right.
That gives you Yoshinori MUTÓ.
Yoshinori? Has he even made 5 appearances?
10 appearances, 1 goal in the cup against Leicester.
Oh, I forgot all about that. MUTÓ, Jesus, I think surely he's gone now because we're scrimmaging straight with the battle after a restart for players to come off the bench. He had 5 subs, MUTÓ was on the bench, he couldn't even get 5 minutes. Bless him. Fans didn't give him a chance. Clearly not good enough. Can I get in the Japanese team? Can I get in his national team? It's not like they produce world class players, is it? So
it's not like that's Spain.
we had loads of opportunities to give him a chance. Even they think of Brighton away somewhere, just chuck him in, see what he can do. Never did it. Never got a sniff. Never even got 10 minutes off the bench. So for me, MUTÓ, what can I say? I mean, I haven't seen anything of him. I remember that Leicester game, we were there, weren't we?
Yeah,
that was a penalty shootout. Shootout defeat, and we said he looked all right. He took his goal well, but that was the only thing he's done all season on it. So for me, MUTÓ 3 since he scored when he was given a side chance.
Yeah, fair one. Isaac Hayden then, number 14. He's been a rock, absolute rock for us this season. Another contender for player of the season for me. Massive key player. 35 games, 1 goal, 2 assists. Second most tackles in the squad, second most interceptions in the squad. Massively rejuvenated from last season. He ended last season pretty well, but at the start of the season, we all wanted him to go. We hated him. He was villain number 1. We were like, fuck off. He didn't want to be here. His effort was 0. He got himself cynically sent off against Cardiff. But he got in the team because Shelvey and Diarmé were injured, and Key was at the Asia Cup, wasn't he? So that's when Sean Longstaff got his chance, and Hayden came in, and he finished the season one of our best players, one of the massive fan favourite. I remember Fulham away, we were giving him a standing ovation, singing "There's only one Isaac Hayden." It was quite emotional because it was pretty much guaranteed that he was going to leave, but he didn't. Thankfully, he came in, and this season throughout, massively consistent. I think without him, he's maybe one that goes unnoticed. I think if you're not a Newcastle fan and you don't watch Newcastle week in, week out, he'll probably go under the radar. But for me, he's probably one of the best, most consistent, unnoticed centre mids in the Premier League. So this season, I'll give him a 9.
I think we were worried about maybe SAINT-MAXIMIN going, DÚBRAVKA going. We've got to look at players like Isaac Hayden as well, because he is huge for us. And Arsenal must be kicking himself now. He's an academy product there. He would slip perfectly in the Arsenal midfield. He would. He could do a job at pretty much most Premier League clubs. I think Isaac Hayden, a rock in the middle of the park. It's hard to come by them players these days, really. So Isaac Hayden, like you say, one of the best players of the season for us.
How much did we get him for? Was he 2 million or less?
I think it was. I can't remember actually. I was going to say 2.5
2 million.
Maybe about 2.5 million.
Bargain, massive bargain. Arsenal dropped the ball with that one.
Yeah.
No, number 50. Oh no, JETRO Willems.
Oh, Willems, man, devastating. He got that injury because I'd love to see him come back. He was like SAINT-MAXIMIN. They had a great link up down that side. They were really getting used to each other, playing, overlapping, who was going to do what when. But he had the connection with the fans as well. He really got it. He really got sucked into the city. He felt it. He had the passion and his interaction with fans on Twitter and whatnot. And then some of his goals. You think of Liverpool away, Man City at home. He was just a threat, massive threat up that side. Recovered well all the time as well. So let's hope his injury's not too serious, although he hasn't been linked with coming back because of it. Which is a huge shame because I would love to have seen him sign permanently for the team. When he was here, though, I'll give him an 8.
Yeah, definitely 2 goals, 2 assists. The 2 goals against the 2 top teams, Liverpool and City.
Identical in our on the left-hand side, cutting on the right, bend it in the bottom corner.
Both right-footed as well. Both weak foot, wicked finisher side. I hope we sign Willems. I really, really hope we do. I think he's only available for about 7 or 8 million in it. Like, it'd be bonkers to let that go, because you say like how much he loves the club. Like, he used to go to the games with Wijnaldum and that like years ago. I think he was trying to make this move happen for years. So it's great that he actually wants to be here. That message he put out on Twitter when he left was it's emotional. So I hope he comes back. That's EMIL KRAFTH. 20 appearances. It's a funny one to start with KRAFTH. Like, I've backed him all season. I think I don't know what it was I've seen in him, but I didn't think he was that bad. I think it was like his first game. I think it was the second game of the season against Norwich. He started that game and he got a lot of stick. I think he got caught out once or twice, but I thought fans were very, very harsh on him. And then as his games went on, I think he was getting more and more stick that I just think wasn't really necessary. Like, he wasn't world class enough. He wasn't standing out, but I thought the criticism was very, very harsh. But he was playing as a right wing back, and as we're seeing towards the end, at post restart, playing in his rightful position as a right back, I think we're actually seeing him play really, really well. A couple of times he played at centre back, where I think he actually did all right as well. Like, it's not his main position, but when he played there, I actually thought he was decent. But only 20 appearances. Not the most consistent, played a lot out of the position, so I think it's been very, very harsh on him. But yeah, not terrible for me, so I'll probably give him a 5.
I've got to remember he was only 5 million.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
In this day and age, pure peanuts, and I think he, as the season went on, he got better. His performances went up, his effort went up, and when you play him in the right position, lo and behold, a little bit better, Steve.
Yeah,
so
it's funny how that happens. It's a 5 million, like. That's why Joelinton had the weight of the world on his shoulders. £40 million. It's a lot of money, even in this current market. £40 million is still a substantial amount, like, let alone for Newcastle, considering we've only spent over 20 million once before. So I like 5 million. It's hustle money. That's what you get for 5 million these days, hustle. So he wasn't exactly a bank breaker, was he? So I think you need to just give him a little bit of slack.
Whereas Joelinton was a bank breaker, and I gave him a 5 just for his FaceTime, to be honest. So if we're going his season, I've probably been a bit generous there. You can we'll change that to a 2. £40 million, 2 goals. Why did I give him a 5? Nice bloke though. Nice bloke, nice missus.
Lovely bloke. Oh yeah, his missus is fucking well out. Which I'll give you one of the other best players of the season, Federico Fernandez.
Oh, Iron Man, as he's become known, because he just doesn't miss a minute of football, even though it'd be good to let him miss a minute of football, because he's breathing out his arse a lot towards the end of the season, absolutely shattered, but still gives 110% week in, week out. Very underrated, quite technically as well, I think. The blocks, he puts his body on the line. He chips in with goals as well from corners, set pieces. So I love Fernandez. I think it's been one of the... You've got to look at some of the signings, to be fair, in Newcastle. The brother get it spot on or awful, and it's like Fernandez was so cheap. Was he not? He's free, wasn't he? Was he not a free agent from after leaving Swansea?
I thought he was, but I was hearing like a couple of weeks ago we spent like 6-7 million on him. Like, I can't remember that. Like, I thought he was a freebie.
Well, even even 6 million, unbelievable. Because like I say, the club will get Shaw cheap, and then they'll get Fernandez cheap, Hayden cheap, and then they'll spend 40 million on Joelinton. There's no in between for Newcastle. Fernandez is always solid, is always spot on, trustworthy player. Love him. I'll give him a 9 for his season.
Yeah. I'll hear some stats out. He made 35 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists. He made the club's 3rd most tackles in the Premier League, and he was the club's leader in passes and clearances.
Wow, see what I mean? Unbelievable. We'll up that 9 to a 10. Just because I remember he's crossing one of the best right wingers at the club as well, wasn't he? Remember early days?
Best right wing, I thought you are before.
Aye. Federico Beckham.
So what was that, 9 or 10?
10.
All right, wicked. Which leaves not Federico Fernandez, we've just done him. Javier Manquillo.
Jolly Rig.
Love that. Manquillo, I thought, had a pretty good season, to be fair. We've toyed around with right backs with Yedlin and KRAFTH. we had 3 decent right backs, but we just didn't really know which one was the best. Like, we were just rotating them, trying to find one out, but never really settled on one. But I think once we changed the formation, once Brucey finally realised that 5 at the back wasn't working, which took up until, what, March? March it took Brucey to realise that 5 at the back was shit. So once changing up, Manquillo was the first one to get the nod to play right back, not right wing back, and I think he excelled. I think he was class. Only played like a few games, I think it was 2 or 3 games before lockdown. Then came out after the restart. He was class first 3 games or something. I thought he was unreal. He was class, and then he got his contract extension, which I thought was fully deserved. And then it was the same as Fernandez. He was breathing up his arse. He was playing way too many games. Brucey just didn't rotate. I think the one time he rested Daniel Rose, he put Manquillo over onto the left. It was like, when's Manquillo going to get a rest? He's either playing right back or left back. Like, he made a silly foul. It was Watford won it, that penalty. Like, it was ridiculous foul to give away, and all the fans got his back. Everyone was like, oh, why the fuck did we give him a contract? Like, fans are quick to get on people's back after making one mistake. Like, you see them make like a pretty daft mistake, and then it's like, oh, fucking sell him, he's shit. It's like, all right, mate, calm down. Like, I thought you had a pretty good season. I think the times he did play, let's say 24 appearances, it's substantial, not a lot. Let's have a quick look at the other ones. KRAFTH made 20, so he only made 4 more appearances than KRAFTH, and Joelinton made 20 as well, so pretty even. But I think Manquillo was the standout one, and I thought he was alright. I think he deserved his contract. I'll give him I was going to say a 6, but I've rated Manquillo, so I'm going to give him a generous 7.
Lovely.
And number 20, Florian Lejeune, only 9 appearances, massive injuries, but 2 goals, both against Everton, that got a point.
I'll give it 10 for the Scottish 10 goals against Everton. just because of the euphoria. That's one of the best moments I've had as a football fan for me. Like, down and out, 94th minute, gone. Half the Doom fans that left were walking out. We scraped something out of nowhere, and then we'll boot the ball up after half time, after Everton kick off again. Think the referee's going to blow us, so pumps it up. There's no overhead kick on it. He's jumped back, overhead kick. We met him after the game, lovely bloke. So in that moment, unreal. But again, Lejeune, just so unlucky with injuries, wounded by injuries and serious injuries like that as well. So I think it's going to be the 3rd time that he's going to have to come back from a major injury. So it'll be interesting to see what Lejeune looks like, plays like next year. But when he plays, I love him. He's probably the best technical player Newcastle have got in defence, as in bringing the ball out. You'd slot right into one of the best teams who like to play football that way. Playing out from the back, he could do that. But it's just a shame that we don't see enough of him. But when he does play, when he has played this season, he has chipped in with them 2 massive goals. I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, it's fair for 9 appearances worth. Number 22, DeAndre Yedlin. As I just said, 20 appearances, same as KRAFTH, 4 less than Manquillo. 1 goal, that flying header. Yeah, underwhelming. I think at the start of the season, I probably still would have said that he was probably my favourite, my preferred right back option or right wing option. I think he is much better as a winger than he is as a defender. But he lost his place. Like I said, at the start of the season, he probably would have been my first choice, but he's lost that to Manquillo. And I even think as a full-back, KRAFTH's ahead of him in the pecking order at the minute. But I think he says he wants to leave. I think he wants to try somewhere else. And towards the end, he wasn't getting any game time. That's how much that he fell out of favour. Like Brucey was playing Manquillo and KRAFTH ahead of him. Like the odd few times he did get a chance. Like which game was it? Was it the Tottenham game where he was just absolutely woeful? Like that was a solid 0 performance. Like, but you just tell, like, season's coming out an end. Whatever. I'm probably going to leave. We're safe now, so why am I going to put in any more than 5 efforts? Like, so I think for as a season overall, 3, and I think that might even be generous.
Yeah, dog shit this year. DeAndre used to be a fan favourite, especially throughout the Championship years. He's definitely away because, like we say, that Spurs game was abysmal. You could tell he didn't want the ball. He wasn't chasing anyone down. He was stepping over the ball at times, just letting it go underneath him on purpose. really fucking wound me up that, because he should still be giving his all for this club while he's here. And he was piss poor when he played.
Yeah. 23 on loan, Valentino Lazaro, 15 appearances, 2 goals.
Good, we didn't see Lazaro further forward more.
Yeah.
I think after the restart, every fan was scratching their head saying, "What does he need to do to get this?"
I know.
He came off the bench against Bournemouth, rifled one in. He scored another one. Was it off the bar? Was it disallowed? I think it was off the bar, wasn't it?
He rattled the bar and it was Hayden put it over.
You just think Lazaro, when he's came on, he's made a huge impact. I remember he was class with the fans and got his goal at West Brom away in the FA Cup. That was a big moment for him in the orange. And he's always looked like a player, a bit of a less of a Saint-MAXIMIN, really. Gets you off your feet a little bit, skillful, got a goal in him. Definitely got a goal in him. He's got a great finish on him. Sometimes we've seen him one-on-one and put the ball in the back of the net. I just don't know why we're seeing more of him. I don't know why he's played as a defender, because he's not a defender. Yeah. It's like a bit like Joelinton, where he can't defend, but his skill set is pace, causing a problem and chipping in with a goal. So why not play him as a winger? I think he could thrive in the right formation, starting week in, week out. 20 million price tag from Inter, a bit steep. Newcastle won't pay that, no chance. No, might try and get him on loan again for a full season.
I'd be happy with that.
I'd be happy with that. I'd like to see him come back. But when he's played, like I say, I think he's done well. He's been missing in some games, but he has chipped in with some really, really good performances. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I just came in January, loan signing. I said he made 15 appearances, but in terms of starts, I don't know. I think it's probably only about 5, maybe. It's just coming off the bench way too late. I think most of them were probably 80+ minute substitutes. Like Brizzy making them way too late as always. But but you've seen the impact he made against Spurs. It was before Joelinton was absolutely shocking. Finally made the change fairly early, I think, now, wasn't it? About 48 minutes or something, or 50 odd minutes in, and within a minute, he was driving the defence. Tottenham kind of half-assed cleared it, and that's when Richie scored his goal. So he helped create a goal within seconds when DeAndre Joelinton just couldn't be asked. So why wasn't he getting more game time? Why didn't he start that game? I didn't get it at all. But it's a shame we only seen him for them 15 appearances. I'd say most of them late subs, only a handful of starts. But so that's Lazaro. And number 24 is Miggy Almiron. Another one of our key players this season. Top goal scorer overall. 8 goals overall. 4 in the Premier League. 2 assists. 42 appearances. That tells you how many he played. If I'm looking around, that's actually the most.
I think it is. Yeah, he has got the most out there.
Yeah, I think DÚBRAVKA made the second most appearances with 39. So Miggy Almiron clear. Unreal second half from Christmas onwards, because when we were doing like King and Renty shows or Q&As and talking to people, that was a question that was coming up all the time. Will Almiron ever score for Newcastle? Because he was missing. He wasn't just missing like chances, like proper golden chances, like off the line, 2-3 yards out, like Dwight Gale type misses. I think I said in one of the King and Renty shows, I was like, I can't see. It's like, like when things are just going right, like the Sheffield it was the Southampton and Man City game where Southampton won 1-0. Like Man City were just peppering chances at them, and I thought, they're not going to score here. They've had too many chances to score, and they're not going to. That's how I felt watching Miggy Almiron. I thought he's just having too many good chances and just not taking them. So no, I don't think he will. But he got his first goal. I think it was just before Christmas, because it was my birthday night against Crystal Palace. Scored the winner, good goal, and finished the season with 8 goals, 4 in the Premier League. Good return. I think if he was scoring them from the start of the season, let alone from December onwards, I think that would be a fairly decent return for him. 2 assists as well. I think he needs to maybe try and chip in with a bit more up top. He was another one, like I said before, about Saint-MAXIMIN. Maybe his end product's a little bit of a question, but it's getting better. We've seen that he's now chipping in with goals, 8, decent return. But I think I said at the end of the Liverpool game, what people don't see about Almiron, because he's a little midget, skinny little weed, people forget about his defensive contribution. Like, he gets back and he gets stuck in and he wins some balls. So as I was doing my stat research last night, he's got the third most interceptions in the squad in the Premier League with 31, and he was the club's highest tackler.
That's mental. Almir on the club's highest tackler. You never would have thought that, would you? He does though. When you watch it, he comes right away back. He always seems to be next to the corner flag, and he always gets his foot in. Always. Yeah. Times his tackle as well. Like.
Yeah. 60 tackles. I can't say who was number 2, but Fernandez was the third highest tackler with 42. So Mickey gets stuck in, and kind of like Hayden. Maybe Almiron goes unnoticed in that aspect as well. Like he's a really good team player. Like I say, he gets back, tracks back, wins tackles, and now he's starting to score goals and assists. Like he's a massive threat now, Almiron. It's a shame that it took nearly a year to see it, from January to December of 2019. It took so long to actually see what he's capable of, but hopefully he can start next season in that kind of form, and provided we keep him, of course. Hopefully we can see a bit more of him. Hopefully he can get 10 goals, a few more assists, and just keep doing what he's doing. I think he's on the rise, hopefully. So, my rating in it?
I actually your rating that.
Yeah, 8.
Good stuff.
20. Haven't got a 25. 26 is Darlow, who made 6 appearances, so just squeezes in with a rating there.
What I would say about Darlow is that when he played against Man City, eyebrows were raised, including ours.
Yeah, definitely.
But he did all he could, to be honest. I remember he made a couple of good early saves, didn't he? Some point-blank, good shot snaps saved by Darlow. So he did well in that aspect. For a couple, was it West Brom he played away, or maybe another game in the FA Cup earlier on, where a bit lethargic into getting into saves, but he's normally a good number 2 called Darlow.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'd give him a 6.
I think that's fair. There's not much really more I can say about Darlow. I think you've covered it there. Then number 28 is Danny Rose. January loan signing, 13 appearances. I wish we could have seen. Well, it's not the Danny Rose of 4 years ago, where he was England's number 1 right back, starting for Tottenham week in, week out, played in Champions League final. He's frozen out of the Tottenham team at the start of the season, so when he came in January to cover for Willems, he just wasn't fit. He was a shadow of the man that would come to know of him in the Premier League over the years. Expression says he's one of his favourite ever left backs ever. If he was going to do a all-time Tottenham 11, he would be his number 1 left back, hands down. That tells you everything you need to know about Danny Rose, really. But we just didn't get that Danny Rose. He came in, maybe he was a few pounds overweight, not fully fit, and performances were a bit inconsistent. But something we noticed is he always started the games really, really slowly, like 20, 30 minutes in. He just looked like he wasn't awake. Like he just rolled out of bed, like he hadn't had his coffee yet. And then, second half, he would get into the games, and it's just a shame that we didn't get prime Danny Rose. I think maybe he's with a bit more game time, with a bit more fitness, with a bit more trust. He could be a great player, and he's available for only 5 million. I think if we don't get Willems, which would be a massive shame, Rose would be a decent replacement. I'd be quite happy to sign Danny Rose on a permanent deal, but we need more depth. Like that's why we had to bring Rose in. Like once Willems and Dummett were out for the season, we had absolutely no one apart from maybe Ritchie or moving Joelinton over there or Manquillo. Like that's just not good enough for me. So for me in the summer, I think we need to sign 2 actual left backs. If they're both Willems and Rose, I'll be over the moon. If it's Rose and someone else, I'd take that. I think that's not too bad. But I'd probably give him. I'll give him a 5.
Yeah.
And then number 30, surprisingly, with 24 appearances and 3 assists, is Christian Atsu.
He never got 24 appearances, did he?
Apparently so. I thought you would have been a bit more. I thought you'd been a bit more 14, 15 or something, but from the stats that I pulled up, 24 appearances. Third most assists in the league, though, with 3.
I can't remember the last time he played.
Well, now he must have started earlier on, because if you're thinking about the start of the season,
still furloughed, isn't he?
He's on furlough.
Still furloughed.
At the start of the season, though, SAINT-MAXIMIN had a few injuries, didn't he? So I think he started against Arsenal, and SAINT-MAXIMIN came on afterwards. Then against Tottenham, Maxi started and went off after about 16 minutes, and then Atsu came on, got the assist for Joelinton, and I think he played a bit more consistently after Maxi's injuries. and he got the assist for Shelvey in the Man City game with 2-2. So I maybe it's just late subs or covering for Saint-Maximin at the start of the season. He might have accumulated 24 appearances. I think he made his last one as a sub. Was it Man City he came on? I think it was. I think him and MUTÓ came on as subs later on against Man City. That was his only appearance post-lockdown. 24 appearances, 3 assists.
Well, that overhead ball, Joelinton was decent. That's all I can remember. Nice little dink overhead. Special to Joelinton against Spurs away. Gave her one of the best moments of the season, that as well, to be fair. Yeah. But apart from that, I can't remember anything he's done. I give him a 4.
Yeah, definitely. Sean Longstaff, 29 appearances, 2 goals. Disappointing from what he was last season.
Could probably repeat what we said about Sean Longstaff.
Yeah, pretty much. One of our key players. So he just broke into the first team halfway through last season with him and Hayden coming in. One of our key players, massive talent, 21 years old, was he? 21, 22 years old. Massive player, accumulated a lot of interest from other clubs, 30 to 50 million rumours going to Man United, the next Michael Carrick. But we kept hold of him. But in hindsight, for that price tag, we probably should have let him go. That would have been another massive shit transfer for Man United. Put that up there alongside fucking Di Maria.
Got that Andy Carroll 2.0, that was. One of the other went there.
He had a lot of injuries this season, 29 appearances, not a bad return, but he probably would have played a lot more if he was a bit more less injury prone. And I just didn't really, he massively underachieved compared to what he did last season. Like I say about Fabian Schär, maybe he's just raised a bar that he couldn't reach. His delivery this season was fucking awful. Some of the crosses, why he was on free kicks and that. I remember, it was another fucking shit show at Burnley away. He was on free kicks and corners, and not one of them beat the first man. His delivery throughout the season, his delivery for being a midfield passer, a Michael Carrick type, absolutely shocking. He made 1 or 2 decent appearances. Well, I think the 2 games where he scored his 2 goals, Oxford and Bournemouth.
He was good in that number 10 role, wasn't he, against Oxford, to be fair to him.
And Bournemouth as well. He started in the number 10 role. He was class. Finish. Yeah, really good. But not enough. Very, very disappointing. So I'll give him a 3.
Yeah, especially after the season he had the year before.
So that was my rating. So the next player is number 42, your best mate.
That'll do me. That'll do me. I'm off. Bentaleb. Had to land on Nabil, taking outcast Bentaleb. I fucking honestly, let's just keep this short and not sweet because Bentaleb is a pale wank. The worst performance I've seen. 15, and every single one of them was fucking lifted. I cannot stand him. I've never hated a player in Newcastle shirt for a long, long time since I have Bentaleb because he just does nothing. Every time we'll get the ball in a decent position, and he'll just go, "Are you free up there? Are you saying? Well, I'll tell you what. I'll just turn around and pass it straight back to Martin, and that'll kill that attack." He's just got no creativity, no ambition to do nothing. He just gets the ball, passes it sideways, passes it back, loses the ball, lunges into tackles. We've seen him score a rocket in pre-season or behind closed games. We've never seen that in real life. Where did that go? I don't know what's happened to Bentley. He must have been alright in glimpses because he was all right at Spurs. Got his move to Schalke. He's been in and out of the Schalke team. He was good there when he first went there. But he's just shite. And if we activate that £8.5 million clause, and obviously the Tito is not happening, I'm out here. The Mac My Channel you can do it yourself, mate. Done. For Bentaleb for me, every minute of every game, wank. 0.
Yeah. Big 0 for Big Rennie. And then that'll wrap it up with the last one. That was Kel Watts and Tom Allen both made 1 brief sub-appearance each, so we'll rule them 2 out. And the last one with over 5 appearances, again with 15 appearances alongside Bentaleb, was Matty Longstaff, the lad that was drawn out of the club by Nabil Bentaleb. Bye-bye. Contract expired yesterday. I don't know how many of them appearances were after January. I think 2, 3 maybe. Once Bentaleb came in, that was pretty much it. and now his contract's expired. But debut season, made his first start in the cup game that MUTÓ scored in against Leicester. Then his first league debut, man of the match, huge game, huge goal, massive win against Man United. Finished the season with 3 goals, not a bad return. 15 appearances for a 19-year-old just breaking through. And he was a big talent. Hopefully, well, I'm saying like, if he was going to stay, I would say hopefully he doesn't have the same second season as his brother. But that might not be any of our concern after today. In the future, nope. He's officially not a Newcastle player. He hasn't got a contract, so he doesn't actually play for the club anymore officially. Hopefully, we can still try and sort out a deal that brings him back. But for me, it's unlikely. But then 15 appearances in the first half of the season, unreal.
Yeah, give us arguably the moment of the season at home to Man United. A local lad showing that dreams do come true, coming up through the ranks. And firing that one in for the edge of the box, great finish. He was busting the gut every time. I remember Rochdale would mention Joelinton putting in zero effort. Most of the players didn't. He was the exception.
Wasn't he? Yeah.
He was everywhere. Never an empty tank from Matty Longstaff, always giving it his all. And his head was definitely turned though, because even after restart, he was coming off the bench doing up DeAndre Evans. Just didn't want the ball. Didn't want to know because he knew his future wasn't here. Huge shame. Can't believe he's actually gone now that he's a free agent. Do what he wants now. He'll be a Canning Championship player for Watford next year. Tell you that. If the links are true, he goes to Udinese. They've got the parent club of Watford. He can go on loan there or whatever. So I'm interested to see how much his career develops. Lovely kid. Wish him all the best. Gutted he's not going to be in Newcastle shit anymore, because when he was, like I say, he had some class moments. Even Old Trafford, that was class. That was class as well. The way to Man U, home Man U. When Matty was on the pitch, he was like every Newcastle kid, every Geordie, giving it his all. Yeah,
it was exciting. Like maybe not SAINT-MAXIMIN exciting, but I like a young local. Like, he was just us. Like if we were like Geordie lads, if you break into the first team, you're playing against Man United or anyone for that matter. You try your hardest, and I think that's massive. I'd rather have like a young kid, well, obviously with a bit of talent, like in the first team, than bring in someone like Nabil Bentaleb or like a foreigner over that doesn't get the passion. He probably doesn't even know where Newcastle is on the map. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather have like a local lad who's really gonna bust a gut, put in 100%, sweat his arse off, and like try and get 3 points for the club. And that's what you get in Matty Longstaff. It's what we've seen last season in Sean Longstaff. I'm pissed off that he's away. Like I say, he hasn't signed a new contract with anybody yet, so he's still available to bring back. But for a rating, and it's hard because it's kind of like if half and half. Really, didn't really see him in the second half. 15 appearances in the first half. I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And that concludes it. No one else.
Okay, well, thanks very much for watching, everyone. Make sure you pop in your player ratings throughout the season for Newcastle United squad. And cheers, Craig, for that. Nice one. Nice, good stats there. Liked it.
No, but I've done my research.
Yeah, you did all that research up there in Eben. Subscribe to Magpie Channel TV and enjoy yourself.